Hello and welcome to my beginner's guide to the Gauntlet. The aim of this guide is going to be to make this content as accessible as possible for anybody watching. If you're watching, you obviously want to do the Gauntlet and you want to do it successfully, so here's how I do it. Firstly, plugins. I use Hunlove Helper. Hunlove Helper is just, as downloaded by default, I have turned the volume down to 60, but not a big deal. It pops up as this little red icon on your hotbar, and it's a timer. It effectively calls out what you need to pray and when.
One mage.
Just like that. So you do as you're told, when you're told, nice and easy. If you get trampled, there's a little button saying, I got trampled. And what that does is, if you get trampled and you're halfway through doing something, it'll reset to the appropriate time so that you still need to swap when you should be swapping. Doesn't get you too confused. Apart from that, I use the plugin called the Gauntlet. So this is how it comes as default. I like to click track resources, and if you're going for level 1 armor, these want to say 3. If you're going for level 2 armor, which I like to do to make sure that I don't die, you take much less DPS. These want to say 7. Everything else can stay exactly the same. Fish and shards, don't worry about those. The overlay, I like to tick overlay resources on and leave everything exactly the same. And apart from that, I like to outline demi-bosses. Outlining basically means you can see them through the wall. Outline Hunlove tile as well, because then you can see exactly where he's standing and where you're allowed to stand so you don't get trampled. Overlay timer I have on because I like to know how much time I've got left or used. Next plugin I like to use is tile packs. It's there, as long as it's highlighted it pops up here. When you've got it highlighted on, click on tile packs, down to Gauntlet, both, and have it on. So you press the plus button and those tiles pop up. It's where you get the least amount of grief from the highlighted floor tiles that do you damage. So make sure you've got these on, stand on them by default, obviously if there's no highlighted floor tiles underneath them, and that'll save you a lot of time. And that's it for plugins. Now if you think you're ready and you've got all the plugins downloaded and switched on, we left click the Gauntlet portal to go into the normal Gauntlet. Now first thing I want you to notice, once I've orientated my map properly, if I open the minimap, you can see it's a 7 by 7. Now these outer 3 rooms on each side are the only places the demi-bosses can spawn. So an efficient route to get what you'd think you need to start with, which is for me 7 of every resource, is a D around the starting room. And on your way round, light up these 3 rooms to see if you can find the demi-bosses that you need immediately. And if you can, it saves you time searching and looking around later. But immediately what we want to go for is a weapon frame, because that's going to make killing everything and getting more shards much easier as we go. They're pretty common from these little rats and bats, etc. Usually get them first or second try. There we go. I also got a teleport crystal from that, which is going to help a lot. But it's 20 shards to create a weapon, so I'm going to go ahead and make a bow. And I'm also going to make a vial and fill it up. You'll see why shortly. Put my bow on and start carrying on this D around this main room. Doesn't matter what order, because I went back there and made that bow. You can do it from here. While we're here, we've just found our first resources. So you've got the tree, which is the friend roots, the little bush thing, the linum terrinium, the linum. We've got the linum. We want 7 of these. Luckily we get all 7 in this room. You get 3 from each, so you can pick 2 full plants and get 1 off the last plant. Once we've got it, I'm going to light up the outside rooms to see if any of the demi-bosses are in there. They usually are. They're not very rare. Here's the bark we need, so we're going to get the next 4 bark. That's 3, and that's the last one. And then we'll write up. One of these rooms will have a demi-boss in, if not both of them. Not that one. But we do need the ore. So while we're here, we'll get the ore. Only thing that will ever get you is RNG on this. And if it does, don't let it bother you, because it happens. It is not your fault. Sometimes you just don't find what you need and you run out of time. On normal Gauntlet though, it's very rare to run out of time. Now I've got everything I need for that, and I've run out of inventory space, so I've used a teleport crystal to get back to here. Now, because I've run out of inventory space to give myself some more, I'm going to make the tier 1 armor, wear it, drop the rest, because I'm not going to have the shards to make it. I'm also going to make my next vial, which I'm going to need. So as you can see in the top, I'm going to use 2 of the leaves to make 2 potions. And I'm going to carry on lighting up this root that I mentioned. So as you can see, all we've got left is this outer one. If it makes it easier to understand, I'll just kill this. You can see on my mini-map, in fact, we've got that room, and then we've finished the route that we wanted to do immediately. You can pray against these because they can hit you. I've got my tier 1 armor though, so they're not going to hit me that much. You can, however, flick your aggressive prayers because it saves you some time. There's one of the leaves. The NPCs all around in the Gauntlet can drop everything, except for the things that you need for the superior weapons. Only the demi-bosses can drop those. And that's actually all we need that we haven't got. So, another example, because I'm feeling pretty confident we might find them. I've just lit up this room. So the next 3 have the possibility of having a demi-boss in. So this one. Nope. Again, this is just bad RNG, not the end of the world. This is why we like the normal Gauntlet, because you get loads of time. This one, nope. Or the next one. I'd be very surprised if it's not in the next one. There we go. That's what we like. So we pray range. I'm going to put my leaves in there while I'm here. I'm going to crush 2 lots of shards and make my potions. You can do damage all the time you're doing this to save yourself some more time. But we also don't need that anymore because we've got all the resources we need. All we're missing is the Dark Beast's bowstring for my bow that I'm using. And I haven't made a second weapon yet on purpose because it's depending on what demi-boss I find is going to depend on the weapon I make. So make one, hopefully get lucky. If not, take a level 2 weapon in instead of a perfected one if you run out of time. Not a big deal. But once we've killed this, I've got everything I need. That being a bowstring and a weapon frame. I've already got a weapon frame because I found another NPC. So all we're missing now is food and another weapon. And what weapon we make is going to be decided by what demi-boss we find. So we'll keep looking at the outer ones. We're obviously here now, so the next 3 can have a demi-boss in. There they are. This is a bear, so it's the melee boss. We pray melee. We don't need to because, if you didn't know, the southwest tile of anything bigger than 1 square tries to line up with you. So if I highlight this guy, that is his southwest tile, and as you can see it lines up with me. If I go here, it'll shift that way 1. If I go here, it'll shift that way 1. If I go there, it will come that way 1 more, it'll be unsafe spotted, and it'll come and get me. Like that. So that's a little tip and trick. That works in every boss in this game as well. So we take the spike, and the shards, and then we go looking for food. Because all we are missing is food. There we go. The food is annotated by a little fish icon. You get 4 from each pool. There's no limit on how much food you can take in except for the space in your inventory. So keep looking for food. Keep an eye on your time always. I don't need to too much because I've got a teleport crystal, so I know I can get back pretty quick. These pots are stamina and prayer pots. They're awesome. That's why we make them as early as possible, because we know we'll need them. There's the food we need. Now, I'm a little bit more experienced because I've done some corrupted Gauntlet, so I know I can do this with about 12 food. So after I've got these food, this will be 16 if I've got time. I'll go back, cook them, make my armor, and I'm good. Just to play it safe, I'm going to go back with 12, quickly cook them, because I still need to make my armor. Should have time, but just in case. I'm going to run onto this tile, because I'm going to drop all this, and I don't want that to be in the way. I need to make a perfected bow, like that, and then I've made the wrong weapon. Never mind, not a big deal. Just to show you how easy this is, I'm going to drop this, pick up all the stuff I need to make my armour. Hopefully I won't run out of time. But this is just to show you that this is very, very, very easy. And I can talk my way through this. There we go. I've got all the food I need. Now, as we go in, I'm going to want to pray range to start with. I'm going to want to hit him. And when he hits me, press start on the Hunlef helper. Move out the way of the white or highlighted floor tiles.
2, 1, mage.
And swap when you need to swap. You see his overhead swap, so I've swapped weapon. Start attacking him with mage.
2, 1, range.
Swap to range. One more. And he's going to swap his overheads, so I swap to range. Put my offensive prayers on.
2, 1,
now these
mage.
are the tornadoes. Dodge the tornadoes because they hit you very, very quickly. That turns your prayer off. So remember what prayer you had on. If not, it's up there.
2,
And pray accordingly.
1, range.
Keep swapping as he tells you. And keep going. Really, really easy. One more. And I need to swap my weapon because these overheads have swapped.
2, 1,
Eat when you get
mage.
low. Keep swapping. As long as your overheads are right, you're okay. Always dodge the tornadoes because they hit you
1,
very hard.
range.
The audio cue for the special attack that turns your prayer off is very, very loud.
2,
It sounds like a fireball.
1, mage.
So it's hard to miss. Just make sure you're not standing on those highlighted tiles on the ground. Also, don't walk underneath
2,
him because
1, range.
if you do, he will do this and trample you. If he does trample you, press I got trampled and it will sort the timer out. Now you see I'm attacking with mage. It's not going to hit him
2,
because his overheads are on.
1, mage.
So put your range weapon on and start attacking him. It's really, really, really chill. If you don't panic and make sure your prayers are on right.
2, 1, range.
And definitely run away from these because they stack you out like crazy. Don't worry about attacking too much. We've got plenty of food because he really doesn't do too much damage.
2, 1, mage.
Again, overheads immediately. I had to do my weapon and my overheads at the same time there. Always prioritise your overhead
2,
prayers.
1,
Eat when you need to.
range.
Overheads. That's what I want you to take away from this guide. Eat when you need to. Make sure your overheads are right. Swap my
2,
weapons.
1, mage.
Again, most of the time I've not even got these on because I forget to put them back on. It's pretty chill. You can see how that just swapped from
2,
down the middle.
1, range.
And again, the tiles are swapped and I'm still not on them. So these are the tiles you want to be standing on.
2,
You've got a little
1,
bit of time
mage.
between when these appear like that and when they go yellow. So don't stress too much. If you're running across them, you can usually...
2, 1, range.
You've usually got time to get all the way across. See, I didn't get that on in time. You did 26. So you definitely want to get them on in time.
2, 1, mage.
Tornadoes. Be ready. Start moving. Safest way to do this is just be moving all the time.
2,
As soon as you
1,
see him start doing that stomp.
range.
On top of my overheads, I'm walking around chill and I'm eating. Click on those tiles and you'll get there. Obviously it did a little bit of damage.
2,
Nothing too bad.
1, mage.
Now I'm going to eat to make sure I secure the kill.
Two, 1, range.
And that's the kill. It resets so that stops going off. And that is how easy it can be when you're used to it. I completely understand. It might seem like a lot. It's not as scary as it seems. Make sure your overheads are right. I've set my hotkeys up so I can swap them by pressing my keys. If you don't know how to do that, it's in settings, all settings, and search for hotkeys. And then you can change them around here. That's how I have mine. If you want to copy mine, that's fine. But I like to go with F1 for inventory, F2 for my attack style because I do a little bit of LMS and I can just quite quickly go on to my special attack, F3 for my prayers. I've got my ring finger on inventory and I've got my index finger on my prayers. 2 fingers that are nice and easy to use. Just to give you an example, as soon as that timer starts to go off, you've got your inventory open, you're moving about, you're panicking. As soon as you hear that,
1
open your prayers,
mage,
get that prayer on. Nothing else matters after that. You're all good. Walk around, dodge stuff. Easy as pie. But that's it for this one, guys. I hope that guide helps. If it does, please consider subscribing, like the video, comment down below what guide you'd like to see next, or anything that helps you in the Gauntlet that I might have missed out, and I'll see you in the next one.